Hi, today we're going to do some work with some palette knife and oils. And there's different types of things that I want to do. I want to introduce some scenery. So initially I just start with a sketch. And then, so I'm trying to decide of what to put on this small canvas. I've got quite a bit of old oils that I'd like to just use up. So we're just going to try this with the palette knife technique. I think what we're going to go with, just to try to introduce some of it, is this one here, and try to introduce this little body into here. So with that, the first thing I'm going to do is kind of season my canvas. This is just a raw hardboard canvas, and I believe it is an 11 by 14. Yeah. Okay, so now that I've made the decision of what sketch to put on here, I'm going to have a gummy eraser and just a basic number 2 pencil. And I'm kind of going to give myself about a 1/3 portion. It doesn't have to be exact, just giving you, a skyline and that type of thing. And then trying to decide of where do I want, in this quick little sketch, I had the umbrella pretty big with a group of 3 people sitting around it. I'm just going to play with this and feel like how I want this laid out right directly onto my canvas with a number 2. So I'm going to just kind of go over here, and I think I'm going to start with the lady sitting in the chair, her hat, the back of the chair. And then give her an arm coming here. And then her legs kind of coming out this direction. And her face. Now all of this is going to be done basically, hopefully most of it with a palette knife, so it's going to be not exact, and it's just going to give you the impression of a lady sitting here. Chair back up this way just a little bit. Okay, from there, here's where I'm going to put my pole for my umbrella. So we're going to go in here. And don't worry about that. And I'm just going to scoop here, 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 make them smaller as they go over this way. Okay. And then if I want that little girl down in here, now I can leave it just like that. And we can go with just the umbrella and the lady sitting under the umbrella in her chair. So once we make that decision, okay. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, like I said, I had a bunch of blues. I have a lot of different blues here. But then I had a lot of all these different smaller tubes, these little tubes that really need to be used up. And so I'm going to put out on my palette all these different blues and try to use up a bunch of them. But the first thing I'm going to do is I kind of want just kind of something to grab a hold of, because as I go in here, you'll see it just kind of is kind of scratchy as I go across. So I just mixed up a little bit of white, and once again it's just a zinc white that I want to use up most of this too. And I just going to give myself some toothy sky. And I can go in and add colors, but I'm just going to give myself some paint on there first. a little bit more color. Now, what I have on here right here is just the white and the, I believe it is cobalt blue. And I'm just mixing it, and I'm not going in and making it super blended. That way it'll just have some color in there. The white will be, just gonna try to get it on. And what I just picked up there was just straight white. Just gonna get the paint on the canvas. I can worry about markings and what it's gonna look like. Okay. So now when I start with my next layer, this is going to be a lot darker in this horizon. Oh, missed some paint up here. We need to add some on that edge. Okay, so I'm going to go in with a dark blue and give myself quite the edge for the ocean there. And possibly even pick up some dark tones in the giving myself a horizon line to work with. Once again, that's just laying in as much of the paint as we can. This step literally is just filling in. I'll catch you up when I get all of this kind of filled in, and we're going to fill all this in pretty much to about that level. Okay, so I've actually picked up multiple different types of blues, and just as much as I can. And as I lay this in, I'm trying to smush it just so that I have something that to grab a hold of, instead of leaving, you know, the little where it's a little hard to get through, right, with this canvas right here. See how if you don't have enough paint on there, it just drags along. So the bottom line is I'm just trying to get all of that on there first before I decide of where my colors is going to go. That way I've got something that it'll just kind of stick to when I put my palette knife against there. Now from this point I'm going to start blending in more of kind of that sandy and introducing that sandy beach tone in here. You notice that I kind of went a little bit at an angle. We're going to go in and we're going to end up putting waves, but first off it's just getting some color, just getting the paint onto the canvas. I'm going to actually add a little bit of purple in here too. Got some of that. That'll make some good under the wave tones. tendency to run out of paint. And got to pause and grab some more. Okay, from here, so I tried to get as much as the blue filled in it and put in as possible. So for here, we're going to actually transition down now into the sand. And with that, we're going to use like things like flesh tones, some yellow tones. I believe that's yellow ochre. And then we're going to mix all those different things up with the white. And then we can even throw in some brown. And I think I have some brown over here. And get some darker tones. So now we're just going to fill in that too before we go to any detail. That might be a little too bright, but I'm kind of just turning it on the side and pulling off some of that heavy paint because I think I'm going to want to get some darker in here. Let's get some dark in there. That paint's really old. That's why I need to get rid of him. Gonna get the shadow around her. Transitioning some sand. Okay, for this I'm gonna have to lift it up. And you can see that I got some bloom on there. I'm not really going to want that blue in this sand looking thing. So I can cover that up. That's no problem. Let's get some more dark in here. Okay, just to cover this board is going to take a longer process. Okay, so I have, you can see there's multiple different types of tones in here. But basically this is just the underpainting before you can go back in now and you can add other colors. And with this kind of all based, now you can get that stick. See how that sticks to the paint itself? And that, to me, is what helps make a textured looking piece, is that stick on this sand. So we're going to go back in now. We're going to work in the water, getting more of those darker tones, and then to be able to get the white back in it. And then along with that, all this yellow tone, we can add more to lightening it up if we don't want to, with a little bit of see how when you just tap your brush, you can make those little spots and that type of thing too, which is kind of cool, and it makes it more of a textured for the sand. Hopefully you can see that. Let's zoom in on that a little bit. Let me see. Okay, so let me lift it up. See how you can make more of a texture in the sand by just gently tapping and lifting, if that's what you want. But I think I'm going to get rid of that, and I think I'm going to go back to just the smooth sand. A little bit too much with the umbrella in the okay. Let me set that down. I don't have tape on my edges, so my hands are going to get very dirty. Okay. Okay, I'll pull that back out. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to pick up some dark. If you've got the purple, like I've got it here, go ahead and use it. I have some old, that's really hard, an old raw umber that's getting hard and it needs to be used. So I'm wanting to get some dark. So I need some pretty dark in here before I start putting light for waves or any of that kind of stuff. So I know I'm going to want to bring in a little bit of wave up through here, coming across the shore. I know I'm going to want to bring some here, and same along all this lines. So you want a dark undertone for that underneath that wave. So let's bring some just right in through here also. Pushing that, actually, I'm going to push this sand out a little bit further. Letting these dark undertones where the beach meets. So while I'm waiting here, I think what I'm going to do too is using that old stuff, and I think I'm going to go in and get a little bit of my girl in here. Just start her so I don't lose her legs. So this is going to be her legs. And notice how, and I don't want my brush to be really bendy, I kind of hold it up a little closer. I'm just going to scrub that in where those girls' legs going to go. and what I'm putting in right now is the shadow. Because we'll use a lighter flesh tone for all that, but just the back shadows. Okay, so let's go to the waves now. So I'm just going to pick up the pure white with my, and I'm just wanting to put in here, this is where it's coming up. And I'm going to, on the back side, I'm going to smooth that out just a little bit. And then I'm going to get a little bit rolling in here too. This looks a little high. Let's take that down. Right along in here. Now this I don't like because it's got too much of the same feel, because it was like too. Okay, so we need to make this a little bit more of, this is better. And then we need to go up the coast a little bit with it. My hat is right here, so I can pull that back. I think I want to put, okay, and notice that what I do is I keep wiping with a paper towel. And I want this white edge. Pull that back around and give me some more white edge of this kind of coming in. Now the umbrella's going to be blocking us here, but we're going to want a little bit more of this. Okay, I'm transitioning up this direction. And then I'm going to, okay, once again, all we're doing is picking up white and laying in where these little water comes up. And then I'm blending backwards. Transition out here just a little further. Let's get a little bit of a wave right in here. Whoop, look at that. As you all know, it's a fat on lean. Little tiny fixes like this, right in and along here. Right in along here. Her hat is there, so we're gonna want to. Now, and put some dark right underneath this. Then we can go back in and add this white to this breaking over. here. Some white white. There we go. Okay, so now, let me see. Let's go with the hat. Now that I'm kind of happy with the ocean, let's go to the chair and get a hand filled in. Something round in there. Go to the hat. Let's put that. What color we're going to do the hat? Let's just do it in lavender color here. Okay, so to work on the hat and to work on the girl, I'm switching to a little bit smaller palette knife, if you can see that. This is the one that I used to get the background and everything on. And on top of that, I don't know if I'm happy with this, so I'll probably go back in and change that a little bit. Okay, so let's work on is the hat here. I'm just going to fill in here. Okay. And then she's wearing some clothes. We can make that in a purple also, if we wanted to, or we could go to a different color. I think I'm going to keep just the hat purple. And then we need to decide what we're going to be doing with the umbrella. Okay, so here we're going to work on the girl, and I want to add some flesh tones. So I just mixed up a flesh tone. I'm using white, a little bit of magenta, a little bit of yellow, and yellow ochre. Made a darker tone and then lighten it down with the light. So that's our base, and then I've got a darker tone that's got a little bit more blue and stuff in it. And then if we want to go darker than that, we can add a little bit more blue or a little bit more burnt umber. I'm just going to start by laying in a face. And the arm. Just going to kind of scratch that in. Here's the top of the leg. Here's the top of the other leg. I want to get this arm. Well, we'll go back and fix all of this. Extend that leg. Okay. Let's take off some of this heavy stuff in the back. We're going to have to get a bit of a neck here. Lighten those up underneath there. dark. We're going to go back behind here. Get that dark shadow in around there. And back behind the chair. Let's get it darker under this chair. Okay. A red shirt on this person. Just a little, I believe I've got that too far out. So let's move that face back in just a bit. Okay. I'm going to just hit the tops of his arm. Want it there. The umbrella. then we want it a little bit shady around this area of where this umbrella is at, because it's throwing off some shade. So I'm just going to blend this out. Of where my umbrella is throwing that shade. Okay, so let's see, what color are we going to do that chair? I'm going to figure that out, what color to do the chair. Okay, I think since we have some yellow on our, I think I'm going to incorporate some of the yellow into the chair. So let's go back to our umbrella now. I want to make sure that got. Okay, so let's fill the umbrella in, and let's do the umbrella in this darker red. Just going to fill it. Find my peak, this one. Find my peak, this one. Down to about there. Fill all that in. Now I'm just going to fill it in darker. times I have to switch hands to be able to get the other angle. Okay, and then I'm going to just kind of scratch in where those poles go. It's awful bumpy right there, so I'm going to try a little bit of the cadmium red. Okay. I caught that piece right there. Well, let's just clean it up. Okay, now I'm going to go in with just a little bit of white, just on my brush, and I'm just going to put in some of the highlights so that it, like the sun's hitting the top of this umbrella. and just let your brush skim over that. Just lightly skim over top. Now, if I can get my brush to work correctly, I'm going to just skim over top of this. This is the shadow side, so we're going to keep this a little bit more blended. A little darker. Pull this on the top. I want to highlight this.